Check, check. All right, man. Good set as
Thank you,
usual.
sir. Thank you.
You know, I mean, you never disappoint. So,
I appreciate that.
yeah, man. Everybody, this is Rob James,
Hello.
and you've been around for a while. You've been doing this show since the beginning.
Yeah, man.
So,
How long has it been now?
it's been at least 3 years. I don't know exactly how long. Time flies, but yeah, it's just been crazy. Time goes so fast. And it's funny because, you know, we never really interviewed you. We never got to know you.
True. We always talk about everything, though.
Yeah, we do talk about everything, but we never really get into specifics. And I have a few questions because you know, it's kind of the same questions, but you know, in all reality, it's natural curiosity. And how actually did you get involved in DJing? At what age and what kind of sparked you to get into it?
I was 18 years old, and well, let me back up a little bit because I was always into music. Used to make mixtapes and stuff since I was a young teenager.
What kind
12,
of music
13.
when you were doing
rock and roll mostly, believe it or not, and then it just got into mixed everything. And I was going to a roller skating rink a lot when I was a kid, and I was hearing a lot of different music, so I got into all that stuff. You know, some hip hop, some house. I was hearing everything, disco. I started going to teen clubs and everything.
Yeah,
so that was kind of my background with music. And then when I was about 18 years old, my best friend got a job with as a roadie at a DJ company, a mobile DJ company. And one day he goes, "Hey man, they're gonna teach me how to DJ." He's like, "Why don't we buy some equipment and we'll learn how to DJ?" And I'm like, "I don't know nothing about DJing." And he's like, "Oh, but you know, you're the one that's more into music than me, and I'll teach you whatever they teach me, and you know, we'll DJ, have fun." I'm like, "Okay." So we bought a couple 1200s and a mixer, and we started everything that they taught him. He came home, taught me some very, rudimentary basics, beat mixing, measures,
But you know what's funny how you said is like back then when you looked at a DJ, you were just like, oh my God, what is he doing? It was kind of intimidating in a way,
Yeah, I agree with that. I would go to the teen clubs and be like, wow, but I didn't really give that much thought. I thought it was cool. It was like, I never had an idea that I wanted to do it. But once we bought the equipment and we started buying records, I pretty much instantly fell in love with it. And I took off with it. I got really good at it really fast. My best friend at the time, he ended up becoming an MC, and we started a little DJ company. So I got my start doing mobile DJing. So we were 18 at the time, so we had a lot of 16-year-old girlfriends, and that was like a little business for us. And we started doing 2 or 3 Sweet 16s a weekend. We were like, the popular kids for doing the Sweet 16s.
So you were in all music, like you did all genres.
Yeah, everything from the beginning. Yeah, but I always loved house. Always, it was always like my favorite. And I got very into it like shortly after I started spinning. That's when I always liked house. I used to put it on mixtapes. I would buy it sometimes, and I didn't know what I was doing with it.
Yeah. What was one of the first few house records that really you?
Well, there goes your mic.
One of the first few house records that you actually fell in love with that you really were like, wow.
The song that really changed. I was a bit of a rocker when I was a kid, and then I was into heavy metal and stuff. And then, but the song that blew my mind was "I'll House You" by the Jungle Brothers. I heard that on like somebody's tape. I was like, "What is that? What is this? Is that house music? What is that?" And that was late '80s, just before I was even DJing. Like, that's the coolest song ever.
Yeah.
I was like, that is. It was actually a roller skating song. Whenever I'd hear that when I was roller skating, I'd go apeshit. Yeah. Like, that's the best song ever. So I knew what house music was, but I really didn't fall in love with it until I started spinning, and that was like 1990. And then, like I said, started in the mobile business. And then within a year, I was like, I don't want to just be a mobile DJ. I want to work in clubs, too. So I started going to local clubs and giving the guys tapes and, talking to managers. And that I was working in clubs by like 19 years old. And, took it from there.
Yeah. So what clubs back then were you DJing?
First club I ever did was Carrington's. I don't know if you remember that. There was 2 Carringtons.
That was on 110?
Yeah, there's one on behind 110 in Huntington, or Melville, whatever you want to call it. And there was one in Stony Brook, which I believe later became Planet Dublin or whatever it was. But that was at Carrington's first. I worked in both of them. I was working between the two. And that was the first club I ever played in.
Wow. And so you've always been like, you DJ'd at clubs and you always had your, you know.
Yeah, always had the mobile thing. I always did that for money. And the clubs were fun. And I'll talk while you get a mic. And but I always had a thing for the clubs. I was good at it. Like I said, I learned very fast DJing, and I got really good at it really fast. And I guess I had a talent for it. And I just, like I said, went right into the clubs and started working in there. And then they just kept getting bigger and better. And I was getting better gigs. And some of them, I would play everything in some of them, but I was trying to get into the house scene too, and then the rave scene started blowing up in like 95, somewhere around there. And I got into that whole scene and the music, and I went strictly house once that blew up, and then I started doing house clubs mainly. I wasn't really doing the popular stuff anymore.
Okay. And you also, besides for doing the mobile stuff, you started doing a lot of sound, like PA and actually putting together sound systems for people?
Yeah, I've always been, I started doing sound systems. When we were 16, we got a license, we got cars, and I always tinkered with sound and stuff even when I was a kid. And we started doing car audio. We started building boxes, and we were doing, everybody in the neighborhood, we were doing their sound systems in their cars. We loved it. We just loved doing it. And just once I started DJing, that applied. And sound systems and audio is like, a hammer and a saw for a carpenter. It's your tools. You have to know how to use it. And I just got into it.
Absolutely.
So I've always been an audio guy.
Yeah. And what do you enjoy most? Because this is all you do, right?
Yeah, that's it, man. I'm full-time.
Yeah.
Full-time DJ, audio guy. We were just talking about this today. I wear many hats. I do audio. I do lighting. I DJ, I do mobile DJing, I do clubs, who's ever pay me. I'm very diversified. Wear many hats.
That's
like
awesome, because it's kind of like what I do. I mean, I work for myself, and I don't just do one thing, because it's so hard to survive off just one thing. But we do love everything involved in music, and if you can make a decent living doing what you enjoy and not working for anybody else, I mean, it really is, it's a good feeling to be able to do that. It is a little, scary at times.
Sure.
I mean,
sure.
You definitely have to admit it. One thing I learned is when you're self-employed, you really can't stop. I always used to be like, I used to make some money, and I used to, let me just relax for a little bit, and then all of a sudden you realize you ran out of the money, and now you got to bust your ass. So it takes a real obedience and discipline to, push yourself every day, because you are your own boss. So how do you do that? How do you get up every day and say, I got to do something today, whether it be this, or this? How do you keep yourself motivated?
Hey, listen, I have no problem not being motivated, just staying in bed some days. I do enjoy those more than anything. It's just, I like being my own boss. I like running my own business. I don't like listening to people. I like doing things my own way. And just, I've never been a corporate guy. I can't do that. It's just not in me. Never has been. I'll always hustle and get my money and do what I got to do. But, I've been doing that since a very young age. I don't know anything else.
So it's just a matter of knowing that you have to. Yeah, you can't stop. You have to.
Can't stop, you don't eat.
Exactly. Exactly. What do you enjoy the most out of what you do?
Spinning. Yeah, believe it or not. Just playing for a good crowd that gets it. And, that's my thing.
You just enjoy just making controlling people in a way,
vibing out, getting them to dance, and
And how do you read the crowd? Like, how do you know when you got them and I always find it interesting how do you know when you need to change up a little bit? Can you see it in their movements?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really not, crowd reading's really not that hard to do. You're just watching the people, and if you could see them, if they like it, and they're throwing their hands in the air, and they're screaming, clapping, whistling, pointing at you, whatever they're doing, you know what I mean? They're having a good time, you could tell. And if they're not, they're walking off the floor, and you got an empty floor, you got a problem.
So you have to stay focused. You can't just get
you're
in
watching
your
them.
own
You're
zone.
part of the vibe. You should be having fun with them. And if you're not having fun with them, then no one's having fun.
I know that you actually put on a lot of events and stuff, and you bring in a lot of DJs. Do you ever notice, or you have a DJ that they just get so in their own zone that they're not paying attention to actually what's going on?
Well, sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes, most of the time, it's a bad thing. For mobile stuff and club stuff, you have to pay attention to your dance floor. You have to have a packed dance floor. That's your job, is to keep that dance floor full and make everyone have a good time. That's what you're there for. That's what they're paying you for. But in certain areas, like house music, and if you're in a certain house club at a certain party, people want to hear what you want to hear. They want to hear what you're playing. So sometimes you put your head down, you just play your own thing, and they have a good time. I mean, you don't want to clear the floor either, but you don't want to play. You want to keep them dancing, of course. But sometimes it's not as important. You know what I mean? Mobile parties, clubs, more important. You got to do that. When it comes to house music, hopefully, if people are there to hear you and what you're going to do, what you're going to play, they're going to be feeling what you're feeling, and they're going to be dancing, having a good time.
So do you enjoy putting together events?
Yeah, that's a lot of that's out of necessity. I like having a place to go local that's good music, and you don't get a lot of that on Long Island. It just came down to okay, well, if it's not here and no one's gonna do it, I guess I got to do it. It's just that kind of thing. Like, it's even, like we were talking about earlier, work, being motivated. Someone ain't gonna do it. I guess I got to do it. You know what I mean? I'll do it. I'll do what I got to do.
So you feel a little bit like a little bit of a responsibility to keep the movement going, to keep the house vibe on Long Island.
Not so much, like I have to. That's what I have to do. It's just what I enjoy doing, and sometimes if you see a need, you got to do it.
Okay.
There's an opening. You got to take it.
What is well, two questions. What is the event that you spun at that you enjoyed the most, and what is the event that you actually put on that you really were real proud of yourself the way everything went?
I would probably say the event. You can put them all together because it's all kind of the same. Probably like my birthday parties with Louis Vega when we were doing the movement thing a couple of years ago. Some of those parties were crazy. They were just awesome. And, I did everything. I was the promoter. I was the DJ. I dealt with the DJs. I did everything. I do security sometimes. I did it all. And, pulling guys out here like Louis Vega, Tony Humphries, Jelly Bean, Danny Cravat. We pulled them all out here on Long Island, and no one was doing it. So I stepped up and did it.
Okay. And what about an event that you spun at, maybe that you didn't even have anything to do with?
I didn't have anything to do with. Most memorable would probably be, there's a lot of parties. I've done a lot. Most memorable, biggest deal to me was probably spinning with David Morales and Frankie Knuckles on a boat party sometime in the mid-90s, like 95, 96, somewhere around there. That was pretty cool. I was just an opener or whatever, but it was awesome to play with those guys. They were legends even back then,
So, would you consider them your influences, like starting
One of, sure. They were one of my influences.
Who are some of the guys that you, when you were starting out, that you really looked up to and actually you wanted to, as a young guy, be like them?
Yeah, I would say probably most Danny Tenaglia. I really loved his technique. He was just very tight, clean mixer. Like, everything he did was tight and clean. I always liked that about him, and I used to go just watch him spin. So I liked the way he blended records in, and he I watched most. Louis Vega also, he was another one I watched a lot because he's another guy who's very technical. I like the technical DJs. I like them very tight, clean, that know how to read a crowd, play the right music, and I like that. So those are two of my biggest guys that I watched and learned from.
And what about now? Who are some of the guys you think are really, really doing it that you enjoy?
Oh, I mean, those guys are still doing it. Danny's playing a little different sound now, but he's still a solid technician DJ. Louis, I go see whenever I can. He's still doing it, man. I just saw Murillo the other day. He was very inspiring, believe it or not. He's rocking 4 decks and remixing, mashing up, doing everything. No computer, just up there, pure, having fun. Just very fun to watch.
Well, that's good because a lot of the guys who have been doing it a long time, they could somehow feel, you know what, I don't have to prove myself anymore.
Yeah.
So for him to be actually doing 4 decks and going out of his way, that's really...
There's a lot of that out there right now.
Yeah.
I don't have to prove myself anymore, so I'm just going to sit here and push buttons.
Exactly. Which we see
I've
that
seen a lot of that, believe me.
And a lot of the people don't even care. They
don't
just
care,
hard question, but what is one of your favorite house tunes of all time?
Ooh,
or give me 3 because it's so hard to pick one. But which few? You just
of all time.
Yeah.
Of all time. That's hard to say because there's so many different genres. But I'm gonna put "I'll House You" out there because that was the song that did it for me, getting me into house music, and I did a remix of it that I still play every once in a while, and so that song I'm gonna put on there. Oh man, it's hard. It's so many.
It is a hard question.
Yeah, it's like you gotta look through all the songs. This one, like, oh, that one, and then, oh, what about
but
this
that
one
just sticks
There's
with
so
you because that
many.
just triggered your whole love for house music.
Yeah. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, man.
So,
so
what
many.
you just said there's a lot of different types of genres of house music. What is your favorite that you really? I know that's all good, but like which do you enjoy spinning the most?
I like kind of like a funky deep house. Well, you can call it. Yeah, I guess you call it deep house. Funky, soulful sometimes. I like some techie stuff. Classic house, it's pretty much all the stuff I play. But mostly, as long as it's funky and moving, I'm kind of into it.
Okay. And what is what are your? I mean, you're involved in so much. I mean, you're still DJing big things. You're putting on events. You do your mobile stuff. You have your sound company. What are your aspirations over the next few years? Like, are you trying to take anything to a certain level? Like, what you have any specific goals that you'd like to try and accomplish?
Definitely working on growing my sound company, getting gigs through that, and just doing things my way because I'm a perfectionist and I have a certain skill that not everybody has when it comes to that, and I have a good ear for it. And I enjoy doing it. So I do, I enjoy setting up a nice sound system and watching people rock out on it. And, everyone comes up, sounds good, man, sounds so good. I like that.
And you go in there and literally set up everything.
Yeah, man. That's
so you know where to put the speakers in certain
placement
areas.
is important, and using the right equipment is important. Power and electricity is important. Using the right components, wires, and processing is important. Knowing how to use a processor and set EQs and crossovers and compression and it's all important stuff.
And how long does it take you to actually set up a venue? Like if they're doing, if they have a certain date, when do you, how long in advance do you go in there? You got to go in there. You got to scope out the place. You got to figure out the size of the room. Do you have to go back there multiple times, or like how does that work?
It depends. Are you talking install or mobile? Like bringing stuff in?
Well, yeah. I mean, does a club actually purchase everything?
Sometimes they do. Sometimes we do installs of entire sound systems, and a lot of times we bring portable mobile sound systems to events and stages and stuff like that.
When the event's done, you take it away.
Yep. That depending how big the sound system is and how much the more people you have there, the more sound you're gonna need. So the more sound you're going to need, the more guys you're going to need to help you. So it varies on sound system size, amount of people.
So the more people in the facility, they're going to absorb some of that sound.
Like say a typical mobile party is 150 people. You don't need a lot. Couple, maybe 4 to 6 boxes speakers. And you get into a small club, 500 people, you're gonna need a little more. You get up to 1,000 people, you're gonna need a pretty decent sized sound system. 2 or 3,000. I mean, more people, the bigger you gotta go.
All right. So would you say, as far as money-wise, is there good money into doing that, like compared to DJing or?
Sure. Yeah. There is good money in it, but you got to spend a lot of money because equipment is not cheap, as you know. Yeah, equipment is expensive. I've been buying stuff, for years and years and years, and you always need more stuff.
And they're always coming out with new stuff.
They're always coming out with new stuff, and stuff gets old and stuff breaks down, and you got to keep up to date. Especially when you're doing rentals, you got to have the newest stuff to rent.
And how do you keep up to date? I mean, you read magazines, and how do you know what's new, what's coming out, what's the next thing, what people are using? I mean, you got to kind of get into that now.
You try stuff out. You use different stuff on different gigs. Sometimes you're working on other people's sound, and you see what they got. And okay, what was he got? Oh, he's using lab group and amps. Oh, those are nice. Those sound good. I'll try those. You try stuff. You go online. You talk about it with other people in the industry. It's a community, kind of. You talk to a lot of people, and it's knowledge. You learn it as you go, and you know what's good. You know what's bad. You hear stuff. I might go to a club and say, okay, they're using all function 1. They're using lab group and amps. Yeah, I like the way this sounds. This is good. I should use this.
Awesome.
Yeah, or you go to a concert. Like even when I go to a concert, I'm looking at the speakers. I'm like, okay, LA acoustic.
You're always looking.
I'm always looking. Always. Every concert I go to, I'm like, oh, what are they using? Oh, okay.
No, that's cool. That's interesting. I mean, that also is something, that you could have a future in also.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
Kind of understand,
absolutely.
DJing is, it's hard. It's hard to keep it going and keep that money going.
Well, listen, these days, club DJing and house music, stuff like that, it's really more fun. I really don't, there's no money in it anymore, really. The mobile DJing, doing weddings, parties, mitzvahs, I mean, there's good money in that. I actually make most of my money doing that. The audio is good money in that. I enjoy that too. But clubs and the events and stuff, it's really not about the money. That's just like my fun. So I could deal with, stupid stuff like bar mitzvahs and weddings.
That's cool. But that's definitely, I could see that, as far as, going into the future and making that like a serious business and doing that for the rest of your life. Because, you have to make a living. You can't stop. You have to keep going. So that seems logical.
Yeah.
So
my main bread and butter is really the parties. The parties, where the money is. And it's kind of fun. Like a wedding's fun. It's people our age having a time of their life, So that's fun. Bar mitzvahs are a pain in the ass because of the kids, but whatever. It pays good money. So
and you have to stay up to date with all the new music that's coming out. So
yeah. It keeps me sharp.
Interesting. All right. Well, you're very versatile and you're, knowledgeable on all the aspects.
I like all music,
so.
and I could pretty much play any genre. I mean, I've done Chinese weddings, black weddings, you name it. I've done them all.
Awesome. Why don't we let everybody know where they can get in touch with you? Because if anybody needs a party, if anybody needs sound done, if anybody needs you to
Club
spin
guy,
somewhere,
studio work. I do studio work too.
Oh, that's right. We didn't talk because you actually
make music.
We heard a few tracks that you've been playing, which is awesome. Do you enjoy doing that?
Oh yeah, well that's my art. That's my love too. And I love that just as much as I love spinning house music. Making it is just as much fun.
And you have a couple things out now?
Yeah, I just you could go on TrackSource, you can go on iTunes, all the major things. The thing is, I never put anything under my own name, so no one ever knows. I have a million acronyms out there, not acronyms, aliases. The one of them actually is an acronym, but Poor Righteous DJs is one of my groups. That's when I work with my boy Romaine. And you can go to TrackSource, you can go to Beatport, iTunes, any place where you buy music. Look us up. You'll see tracks. I got a whole bunch of tracks under that name. Back in the day, I used to use one called Solis, S-O-L-I-S. It's a little secret what that means, but it's funny. Oh, it's actually not really a secret anymore. It was out. It was a sick of Long Island shit back in the day.
Okay.
That's when I was trying to do deep stuff and everything was progressive, and I was like anti-progressive house. And that was another name that I had, and a few out there.
Okay, so
secret names.
Poor Righteous DJs is
That's
one.
my most current
now?
one.
Okay.
Yeah, I put tracks under Rob James sometimes, and I put Poor Righteous DJs is my other name that we use the most. That's me and Romaine, basically.
Okay. All right, so yeah, tell everybody where they can keep in touch with you, all your social media.
Facebook, I'm on there. You go look at DJ Rob James on Facebook, djrobjames.com. I haven't actually been there in a while, but Instagram, I'm on SoundCloud, Mixcloud. Just look me up, DJ Rob James. You'll find me.
Okay, cool. Anybody you want to shout out or anything before we go?
Shout out everybody for tuning in. We appreciate your support at the show here. We do love it. And we thank everyone for tuning in. And everyone else in our studio audience, Heather over there, she's surviving on the couch. She's still alive.
She's still there.
Shouting her out. And everybody in the chat room. And just all the people that support whenever I do a gig. And invite people out and they come. I appreciate the support. So shouting out to all those people.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, man.
Thank you, my friend.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I appreciate everything that you contributed and you're a part of here. So
yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Cool. And we'll see you at Unity.
Yes, we got Unity coming up. Yeah, which is actually my birthday that night.
That's right.
So we're going to get a little buck wild. I'm doing Funk Box the night before, 18th.
Oh, boy. Well, you've been known to do those 3 nights in a row.
I like to do one in the city, one on Long Island.
Uh-huh.
One for my city friends, one for my Long Island friends. I always like to keep it local for people, so they don't feel. Well, you come out, and it's not too far for them.
Well, you got good stamina because you've actually gone like right through 2 nights in a row.
Oh, you
know,
man, on a weekend, I don't sleep on the weekend sometimes.
Yeah,
I'll work 30, 35 hours straight, not a problem. Go to work, DJ, go to work again, and I just catch up to sleep eventually.
So September 18th, you're going to be at Funk Box.
Funk Box,
and the
Sunday
19th
night.
On Unity.
19th is Unity, and we're going to do a little birthday thing there.
And we're actually going to be broadcasting my house show from Unity that night. DJ Danger is going to help me out with the setup. So we're going to have a nice little setup there, and we're going to broadcast the show from there. So
love it.
Should be a pretty big event.
Good.
All right. Awesome, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
MyHouseShow, StrongIsland.com.